welcome to our peace flow today. We are going to start the class seated. So if you'd like to have a pillow for underneath your hips or a yoga block, we'll be there for quite a few minutes. So I just want to make sure that you are set up to feel comfortable in your body so we can close down those eyes and really just arrive in this space. So just to get started, finding a nice easy seat here. It's going to look a little different for everyone. I like to bring a pillow underneath my hips and raise them above my ankles a little bit. Like I said, we'll be here for just a few minutes. Go ahead and just start to close down the eyes. Maybe shifting side to side, getting the sits bones evenly distributed on the floor. Feeling the tailbone start to scoop forward ever so slightly so that the core can engage, so we are not compressing in the low back. Feeling the shoulders stacking on top of our hips. A nice open line of energy from the crown of the head to the seat. Taking a few more seconds here just to get any wiggles out. Hands can be in the lap or on the knees or by your sides. Shoulders are back, space across the clavicle. Closing down the eyes if you're not already there, and just starting to explore what it feels like in this stillness. Taking a moment to tune in without any need to change or manipulate that breath. Just observing in this moment what our breathing is like. Noticing the temperature of our breath. Cool as we inhale through the nostrils, warm as we exhale. Noticing the depth of our breath, if it's dropping all the way to our diaphragm, that space below the ribs and above the belly button, or perhaps right now it's getting caught in our chest and throat. And again, no worries about changing it, just allowing without judgment to take note. Noticing the quality of breath. Maybe listening to the sound of your breath. Maybe with the eyes closed, starting to listen for other sounds within our room. If you have a heater like I do, I can hear that buzzing next to me. Maybe you have family in the other room clinking around in the kitchen. Again, practicing observation without attaching meaning to any of it. When we talk about peace, I think in general we have a very broad sense of war versus peace. And while that is a beautiful type of peace to strive for, I think oftentimes we forget that peace really begins within ourselves. In order for our external world to reflect that peace, we have to first approach our external world with a sense of peace. Not in the sense that everything is happy-go-lucky all the time. In fact, I would argue that peace is more neutral than it is positive. Life is full of joyous moments. Life is full of hard, heartbreaking moments. Majority of life is that in between. And that, I believe, is where we start to discover peace. In those moments, day to day, where categorically you could look at them as nothing much happening. But we could choose to see them as moments of quiet, of calm, of serenity. Noticing in those moments how we observe, of how we attach meaning, add stories to certain circumstances, and start to recreate our relationship to the life around us so that we can feel more peace. In our day-to-day moments when we're feeling those pockets of anxiety or hurry or rush, a lot of times if we're able just to pull back, we realize that we're putting a lot of energy, expectation, and creating a story around something that, in the grand scheme of things, really isn't that important. And when we can start to understand and observe that, And we start to let go of those stories and those expectations we've set for others and ourselves, and allow ourselves just to be. That to me is when we can start to find peace. And the more we can arrive in this present with that peace and bring it into the world and towards those around us, that is when we plant that seed that grows from within and spreads to the world. So today in our flow, I invite you to find an intention. The one I offer, as you may have guessed, is that peace. So moving through our practice without attachment to outcome. When you move into a posture, especially if it's something that's a little bit more challenging or can be perceived as challenging, allowing it to be exactly what it is. Moving through poses and flows without any story or judgment, and just simply letting your practice today be exactly what it is. Because what we practice on the mat, that detachment from outcome, we can take into the world and bring that peace. Beautiful. You can stay seated on your pillow. You can keep the eyes closed. I'm going to move the pillow from under my hips and just come more grounded into the floor. Hands will come to either the front of the shins or the outside of the thighs, just not on the knee joint. We're going to go for some seated cat-cows. Inhale, heart shines forward, rolling the hips back, open, spread the collarbones. Exhale, start to round through the back, creating that C shape in the spine, chin to chest, sitting back on the hips. Inhale, rounding the spine forward, shoulders down our back. Exhale, belly button drawing in, rolling back on our seat, tipping the chin down, feeling the spread between the shoulder blades. Moving at your own breath to movement. If for whatever reason this doesn't feel good in your body today, feel free to take this into a tabletop cat-cow. Let's go one more round of each. Exhale, finding that that cat. Coming back into that seated position, just a gentle rock side to side. So grounding through the sits bones. Again, I offer you to keep your eyes closed and continue to become that observer of these movements. Observing what parts of your body you feel as you go for this rock. Observing your breath as you move. Taking this side to side and gently moving it forward and back. So keeping the sway, but starting to create a little bit of a forward lean. Maybe hands come forward. Exploring the depth and the range of motion and coming back again. As we move through this flow with a sense of peace, can we notice where, without judgment, we're starting to attach meaning to things? So maybe we attach meaning to our level of flexibility. Maybe we attach value to being able to do something. And while it's great to have a positive sense of self, can we just for this practice work on letting go of defining both negative and positive, and just allowing us to explore being present. Starting to come back up to that center position. Inhale, stretching the arms up and overhead, grounding through the sits bone, energy out the fingertips. Right hand is going to drop to the floor. Left hand is going to stretch up on an inhale, grounding through our left sits bone up and over to the side, feeling that stretch in the side body. Anchoring through the left hip, feeling the energy flow through the side body, the ribs, the lat, the armpit, up and out through the fingertips. Big breath in. And slowly frame that right leg, walking it forward to forward fold, chin to chest, taking a big breath in, filling the belly, filling the back. Exhale, walking it back up. Inhale, stretching the arms, feeling that energy from ground to sky. Extending our left arm out. Right arm stretches on our inhale, reaching up and over on our exhale. Again, rooting through our right hip, feeling the energy travel up and through that side body, all the way out the fingertips. Shoulder is down, our back, big breath in. Exhale, starting to round the body, framing that left knee, walking forward into that forward fold. Big breath in. Exhale, start to walk it back to center. This time we inhale, stretch, rooting to rise through the hips. Exhaling, taking our left hand outside of our right thigh, right hand outside of that right glute, finding length in the spine, and then just a gentle invitation to rotate. Again, when we let go of expectation, we don't force our body into any position. We allow our body to arrive in the position that best suits it today in this moment. So notice, again, without judgment, if as you go for this twist, you had a certain level of expectation for where that twist was going to stop. And then find that piece of just arriving where it is naturally. Big breath in. Exhale, returning through to the center. Inhale, we find our stretch. Rib cage engages. Exhale, right hand, left thigh. Left hand outside the left sits bone, finding length in the spine. And then exhale, allow that twist. Finding that breath in, lengthening through the spine. Exhale, getting a little bit deeper into our twist. One more nice deep inhale. And then exhale, returning to that center, allowing those legs to come forward, little shake out of the legs, get a little blood flow into those knees, scooping that tailbone, hands behind us. We're going to take a nice wide leg 90-90 drop. So starting with those feet much larger than or wider than hip width distance, so that as you allow this rotation and rinse of the hips, that both knees get to come to that 90-degree position. Breathing through this. If there's one spot in particular that feels extra lovely, feel free to hold. Again, trying to keep the core engaged here so we're not offloading into our low back at all. Beautiful. Wherever you are, let's start to come into one final round. And then we'll finish with our right leg at the top of our mat and our left leg out to our side. So we're in this deer pose. 90-degree angles, taking a second to adjust. We're probably off mat a bit, and that is a-okay. Left hip is coming right, or excuse me, left knee out from my left hip. Right knee is roughly in front of my right hip, flexing both feet, finding these angles. If for any reason you need to adjust, pull the knees in closer or feet in closer, go for it. We're going to rock side to side, getting our sits bones cemented into the floor. The left hip probably won't touch, but just think of sending energy down through that hip. Inhale, finding length. Exhale, left hand outside that right thigh, right hand outside that right hip. Finding another twist here. Noticing if you can scoop the tailbone forward, engaging through the low core, while also anchoring down through the left hip. Again, we probably won't connect with the left hip, and that's okay. But rather than allowing your hips sort of rock off the floor, we really want to try to find that connection with our energy. Energetically grounding down. Big breath in. Exhale, return to center. Inhale, find space in the clavicles, and exhale, flex that right foot and start to come into your forward fold. It's another great option if you have your pillow nearby. You can drop that down and let your head rest. Taking a nice deep inhale. Again, thinking energy down through that left hip bone so we can stay nice and even through the hips. One more nice deep breath in. Exhale, start to walk it back up. Hands come behind us, and let's just rotate up and over, bringing the left leg in front. Taking a moment to situate. So I've got my right hip out from my right, or right knee from right hip, my left knee from my left hip. And again, even though my right hip isn't going to touch, I'm still going to think of energetically sending it down. Core is engaged. Inhale, I stretch. Exhale, bringing right hand to left thigh, left hand outside of left glute. I'm feeling a big stretch personally in my right glute and right hip. Everybody's body is different, so just make sure as long as you're not in the low back, you're doing beautifully. And if you are in the low back, just pull back ever so slightly and really focus on pulling the belly button in like you're pulling on a tight pair of pants. Engage the core. Big breath in. Exhale, we unwind. Inhale, finding length through the clavicle. Exhale, start to flex both feet and walk it forward. Again, option to bring a pillow to bring the floor closer to you. You can stack the fists. Thinking of that right hip bone sending down energetically. Big breath in. Exhale, soften. One more nice deep inhale. And then on our exhale, coming back up, and we're just going to take a couple of transitional deer poses. So we're going to rotate to the right. Big stretch, inhale. Exhale, rotate to the left. Each time grounding down through that opposite hip. Inhale, we rotate using the outer thigh, inner thigh. Exhale, we feel that stretch in our side body and the outside of the glute. Beautiful. You are more than welcome to stay here. If you'd like to practice an elevated deer pose, we're going to come into that deer shape, grounding down through the front shin and the back knee, squeezing the glutes up and lower down. It's going to deepen the stretch in the thighs, pressing down through shin and back shin, squeezing up, feeling that stretch in the glute. Beautiful. Let's go for 2 more of whatever version we're doing. Big squeeze up. 1 more. Ton of hip and glute strength here. So again, back off to a variation that feels good to you and bringing it all the way into tabletop. Beautiful job, Raiders. Way to try something new. Little shift here. Taking a second, closing the eyes in tabletop. If cat-cow feels good, amazing. If rounding through the spine feels good or going for circles, take about 5 more seconds here just to explore. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And then starting to arrive here, spreading the fingertips nice and wide. We're going to walk them forward about 2 to 3 inches, plugging the toe, grabbing through the ground like you're trying to grab a chunk out of the floor. Tuck the tailbone, lift the knees, finding our first down dog of the practice. Taking as much time as you need here, pedaling, stretching through the calves, pressing one armpit down and then the other. Breathing into this shape, and again, coming back to that intention of allowing yourself to be exactly where it is today without expectation or judgment. Expectations are so natural. So I should say, when you notice those expectations arrive, rather than punishing yourself, just seeing if you can detach value from it. Beautiful. Inhale, stretch the heels. Exhale, release. We're going to take a couple of rolls through our spine. So gripping through the floor, we're going to inhale, stretch the heels. Exhale, rolling through the spine. If you need to sort of adjust so you're in that high plank, you can come through to the high plank or keep traveling. Squeeze the glutes, rotate the shoulders down the back. Up dog. Inhale, we tuck the chin. Core is tight. Roll back to the spine. Little bend in the knees as we come back to our down dog. Inhale, lift the heels. Exhale, scooping the tailbone forward, engaging through the glutes. Clavicle opens, shoulder blades down the back. Squeeze the glutes like crazy so we're not in the low back. And tip the chin, little bend in the knees, squeezing the butt. Coming back to that down dog. 1 more. Again, if it feels uncomfortable in your low back, just shift it into that high plank and avoid the up dog. And exhale, final one. Beautiful, team. Arriving in our down dog, take 1 second to pedal it out here. Big breath. Exhale, let it go. Whoo. On our next inhale, we're going to extend our left leg up to the sky, keeping our hips nice and square. Right heel reaching for the floor. We never have to actually touch the floor. Little circles through the left ankle. Other direction. And then start to bend through the left leg, stacking it on top of the right hip, really dialing down our left shoulder blade. Let's just take a few circles here through the hip, 2 or 3 in one direction, and then the other. Again, thinking rib cage engaging. Keep pressing the chest back towards that thigh. And then inhale, stretch the left leg high, 3-legged dog. Exhale, bending the knee, shifting it forward, knee to nose, setting it down between our hands. Dropping the right leg. Inhale, stretch to the sky. Taking a second to set this up. Left hip dials back. Right glute squeezes forward. Inhale, we reach, core engaged, inner thighs spiraling together. Exhale, bringing hands through heart center. Big breath, inhale. And then on our exhale, we're going to hinge our left hip back slightly. Start to rotate our torso, tucking our right knee, or right elbow against the left thigh. Trying not to tap it on the knee joint, but rather on the thigh bone. If you need to take your legs a little wider, by all means. From here, inner thighs keep spiraling together, pressing the elbow against that thigh, aiming to rotate the heart up towards the ceiling. Thumbs at the sternum, shoulders down the back. Big breath in. Keep shifting it forward so there's that bend in that right knee. It's okay if we're a little unstable here. Remember, we let go of expectations and we allow. One more nice deep breath in. Exhale, pull that left hip back energetically. Send those arms high. Big breath in. Exhale, frame that front foot. Inhale, shifting back, flexing through your left leg, allowing that left hip to draw back, staying high on the right leg. So we're in that half splits position. Big breath in. Exhale, soften. One more nice deep inhale, and on that exhale, we start to rebend through that left leg, plant the hands, and return to that downward facing dog. Beautiful. Little shift here. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, let it go. Whoo. Grounding through those fingertips. Inhale, stretch that left leg, or excuse me, right leg high. This time we circle through the right ankle, both directions. Keep gripping through the fingertips, bending at the right knee, stacking it on top of that left hip, thinking of grounding down through the right elbow. Start to take circles through the right knee in both directions. So again, our hips are open, but our shoulders are even with the floor. One more nice deep inhale as we extend to our three-legged dog. Exhale, driving knee through the nose, dropping that foot between the hands, dropping back knee, left knee down. Inhale, right hip draws back, left glute squeezes forward, core is engaged, so we feel a nice deep stretch in our left quad. Stretching it up on our inhale. Exhale, thumbs to heart center. Inhale, finding length, and on that exhale, slight lean forward as we rotate, bringing our left elbow to the outside of our right thigh. Again, if it doesn't quite work for you today, just work on that rotation, whatever capacity feels good. Anchoring our elbow to our thigh, shifting our glutes forward, maintaining that bend, trying to dial our heart open with our shoulder down our back so that our thumbs arrive at our sternum. Keep pressing your thigh open against the arm. Beautiful. Squeeze the glutes. Inhale. Exhale. Sweep the arms back up. Beautiful work, team. Inhale. Framing that front foot. And on the exhale, drawing back. Flexing the foot high, half splits. That twist from this position takes a lot of mobility. So here's an opportunity to find peace. If you were feeling like you were unable to find that shape today, rather than judging yourself, it is a-okay. It just means that our body is a little bit tight. Perhaps it means that our range of motion isn't available in our body, and that's okay too. There's a lot of different shapes that my body just is not comfortable doing. And that means that I get to do other things. Big breath in. Exhale, start to bend through that front leg, planting the hands down, stepping back into our downward facing dog. Big inhale. Exhale, letting it go. Woo. Inhale, lift the heels, eyes to the top of the mat, stepping or floating behind the wrists. Big ragdoll. Shake it out here. Maybe bend the legs, circle the wrists, shake out the head and neck. And then starting to come to stillness. About 4. Getting it out in 3, 2. Arriving. Inhale, we halfway lift. Heart pulls forward, hips back. Exhale, release. Inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead. Exhale, let's cactus the arms. Squeeze the glutes. Open that heart. Inhale, stretch. Exhale, hips go back. Swan dive forward. Stay with me as our fingertips reach. We're going to inhale, lift our heels, calf raise, and drop our hips towards our heels. Chin to chest, finding this tiny little ball. Big breath in, fill the back with air. Exhale, drop the heels, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, root to rise, sweep it up and overhead. Exhale, open the heart, squeeze the glutes. Inhale, stretch. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, lift the heels, drop the hips. Tiny little ball coming high on the toes if that feels okay. Exhale, release the heels, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise, sweep it up one more time, just like that, team. Exhale, heart opens. Inhale, stretch. Exhale, swan dive forward, hips back. Inhale, lifting the heels, coming onto big toe, little toe, finding that ball, being okay with it being exactly what it is. And if we're skipping it, and that's beautiful too. Inhale, exhale, halfway lift. Inhale, release. Sweeping it back up. This time, hands coming out and in front of our shoulders, bringing the feet, if they aren't already there, into that hip width distance. We're going to sit back into our chair. So sitting back into our chair, hips back, knees in line with those toes, scooping the tailbone, big breath in. Imagining that we have a band around the outside of our knees and just allowing ourselves to squeeze through the butt to keep the knees in line with toes. Big breath in. Exhale, root to rise. Beautiful. Perfect place to stay. If you'd like to play around and practice that inner piece of letting go of expectations, we're going to do the same thing from a calf raise. So engage the shoulder blades. Again, option to keep the feet on the floor. When you're ready, starting to lift into a calf raise. From here, hello, Kinsey, picking something that doesn't move, scooping the tailbone, and starting to sit back. This time we're sitting down into our heels like we did in our ball. Again, you're welcome to take the chair from the ground. Big breath in. If you're on those toes, make sure you're not feeling it in the ankles or knees. You're high on the toe pads. Big breath in wherever you are. Squeeze the glutes. Coming back up all the way. If you're on your toes, try to come all the way up to standing. Meeting us in a calf raise in 3, 2, and release. Shake it out. Close down those eyes. Bring the hands to the heart. Take a second to check back in, noticing any of the heat and maybe any sort of internal dialogue that started stirring up, and just seeing right here, right now, if we can practice observing that dialogue and letting go, detaching any meaning. Beautiful. Bringing the toes together to touch space between the heels. Inhale, we stretch up to the sky. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, lift the heels, find a tiny little ball. Exhale, release. Beautiful. Inhale, sweeping the hips back, squeezing the thighs together, finding chair pose. This time legs are together, knees and thighs squeeze together energetically, heels pull apart energetically, bringing heart, hands to heart center. Thumbs are at my sternum. Same thing we did in that low lunge. We're going to rotate our torso, bringing our right elbow into our left thigh. Take a moment. Notice if your right knee wants to shoot forward, and just gently draw back through your right hip. Beautiful. So again, remember, we are allowing without attaching meaning. This is where it's going to create a little bit of heat. Nothing we are doing is wrong. Nothing we are doing is right. We are just doing. Thumbs to heart center. Deep breath in. Really find the connection between the elbow and the thigh. Grounding down through your left foot. Start to lift the right heel, coming to the toe. Nice deep inhale, feeling cemented through your left leg. Start to extend the right leg back if that feels all right. Find crescent with the twist. If you need to release at any point and drop your hands to the floor, beautiful. You can bring your back knee down into a low lunge. Keep sending the energy from the back heel to the top of the head. Big breath in. Exhale, unwind, finding high crescent lunge, adjusting as you need. Beautiful. Inner thighs spiral together, eyes up to the hands. Inhale. Exhale, start to dial down to that right foot, keeping the bend in the left leg, finding our warrior two. We're going to take flies here. So inhale, straighten the front leg, hands come together, eyes up. Exhale, release. Inhale, back of the heel and inside of that foot, pull together and squeeze the glutes, keeping the toes and knees in line. One more time, inhale. Core is engaged. Exhale. Maintaining the bend in that front left knee. Sweep that left palm up, dancing it back up and overhead. Reverse warrior. Big breath in. Find that peaceful energy. Exhale. As we come up, we start to extend through our front leg, sending the hips to the right and the arm to the left, finding our triangle pose. If you have a block or a water bottle, you're more than welcome to go ahead and pop your hand on top of it to help with stability. Big breath in, feeling that energy flowing through the fingertips. Inner foot of the right foot and left heel pulling together. One more nice deep breath in. Exhale, start to rebend through that front leg, coming into your runner's lunge. High on that right toe. Big breath, heart shines forward. Exhale, forward fold. Beautiful. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, sweeping the arms up. Cactus the arms, squeeze the glutes forward. Inhale, stretch. Beautiful job, team. Inhale, we reach to the sky. Exhale, swan dive it forward. Inhale, lift those heels, ball it up. Exhale, release, finding that forward fold. Inhale, we start to drop the hips. Arms send up and towards the sky, finding chair pose. Inner thighs squeeze together, heels pulling apart. Start to bring the hands to heart center. Hips are sitting back, finding length in the spine. We start to rotate, bringing the left elbow to the outside of the right thigh, anchoring elbow into thigh, or rather bicep into thigh rather than the joints. Take a peek at your left knee. Make sure it's not popping out in front of the right. Just gently guide the left hip back. Shoulders are down the back, taking a big breath here, feeling that connection between bicep and thigh. On your next inhale, root through that right leg. Start to lift through the heel of the left foot and step it back slowly into that twisting crescent lunge. Finding that bend in the right leg will actually help you stabilize more than you think. Big breath here, taking as much time as you need without any judgment, just to explore your body. If the fingertips release to the floor, beautiful. If the knee has to drop in the back, amazing. One more nice, deep, powerful breath. Exhale, unwind into that crescent lunge. Inner thighs spiral together. Big energy through the fingertips. Exhale, left arm dials back as we plant that left foot, knife edge side of the foot down, parallel to the back edge of the mat. Big inhale. Exhale, straightening the right leg, flying and connecting. Inhale, release. Exhale, sweep it up. Inhale, release, big bend. Exhale, inside of the left foot, heel of the right foot, pull together energetically. One more, inhale. Exhale. Inhale, finding that warrior two, squeezing the glute, flip that right palm, dancing it up and over to that reverse warrior. Big breath in, feeling that stretch, that energy, just like in our seated side bend, coming up out of the hip all the way through the fingertips. Big breath. Exhale, start to straighten through that right leg. Right arm extends, our hips go to the left. We send it forward and then down. Taking a moment to arrive to that breath. Again, option to grab a block or a water bottle if you need to hold on for stabilization. Using that inner rib cage to hold and lift. Big breath in. Exhale, start to micro bend through that knee and then fully come into that runner's lunge. Heart shines forward. Big breath. Exhale, step it forward. Let it go. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, root to rise. This time, exhale, bringing the hands through heart center, closing the eyes. Taking another moment to check in. Observing breath, observing heat, observing inner dialogue. Is there an opportunity in this moment where we can practice releasing attachment and finding that neutrality that is that peaceful mind? Peace is a practice. If it didn't take work to rewire the way our brains thought, we would be in a much different society. So please give yourself the space and the patience. Even if today it doesn't feel like you're able to detach at all, you started bringing awareness to it. And the first step to any change in our lives is creating that awareness. So beautiful, beautiful job today. Inhale, we stretch. Exhale, hips back. Inhale, lift the heels, ball up, knee to nose, tiny little ball. Exhale, release. Inhale, dropping the hips, arms sweep up. Exhale, hands through heart center. All right, team, we've been here. Inhale, twisting, connecting right elbow to left thigh. Exhale, arrive. Take a moment here to check in that right hip is driving back. Hands are at that sternum. Start to press the left bicep or left thigh into right bicep, lifting through the heel of that right toe and leg. Start to step back. Taking time. It is a-okay if you fall out of it. That's how we learn. Big breath in. Exhale, unwind. Gorgeous. Breath to movement here. Inhale, we stretch. Exhale, rotating right foot down, knife edge parallel to the back of our mat. We are in our warrior two, skipping our flies. We stretch our left hand up and over. Inhale. Exhale, coming out of it, lengthening through that front leg, extending our hips back and bringing our left arm forward, finding triangle pose. Big breath in. Now we're going to switch it up just a little bit, team, and we're going to find half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. So what we're going to do is we're going to start to gently bend through that left leg. I'm going to move out just a little, and we're going to aim to set our left hand about 8 inches in front of our left pinky toe. So we're going to start to shift down. Again, if you have a water bottle or a block, you can use it for balance. We're going to drop the fingers. We're going to flex our right foot and extend to the sky. So think of outer knife edge of the foot lifting up, up, up. Nice big energy through the foot, through the glutes, balancing as you need. A couple variations can be taking your eyes to the top hand. Another one can be playing around with floating that left hand. And again, just practicing this balance is a ton of activation today. So if you need to keep the foot down and you're just working on lifting and lowering, by all means, one more nice deep inhale. And exhale, bring it into your forward fold. Beautiful. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, cactus the arms, and noticing that inner dialogue and letting it go as we inhale, stretch. Exhale, swan dive. Inhale, lifting the heels, finding your bowl. Exhale, release. One more big push. You got this, team. Inhale, drop the hips, lift the hands. Exhale, hands to heart center, sitting back in our seat, inner thighs together, heels apart energetically. I rotate at my spine all the way to my hips. I bring my left bicep to my outside of my right thigh, and I start to dial my heart towards my thumbs, working with whatever range of motion is there for me today. Finding that resistance between thigh and bicep, lifting through the heel of that left leg, finding stability in the right. Start to step back into your crescent lunge. Big breath in. Exhale, unwind. Inner thighs spiral together as we find energy in this shape. Exhale, sweeping it open into our warrior two. Knife edge of that left foot parallel with the back of the mat. Right knee stacked on top of that right ankle. Inhale, flip the right palm. Exhale, dance it up and over. Inhale, coming back through center, starting to stretch through the right leg. Hips go to the left as the right hand sweeps down, triangle. Big breath in here. Feel that expansion. Take a moment noticing if there's anything popping up, knowing where we're headed next, and gently let it go. Starting to bend through that right leg. Eyes and hand are going for about 8 to 12 inches in front of the right pinky toe. Take as much time as you need getting there. Lifting the outside of our left thigh up. Flexing through the foot, thinking knife edge of that left foot. Flexed, elevated, rolling to stack our left hip on top of our right. You can keep your hand on your hip. If you want a little bit of play with the balance, you can take your eyes to the top hand. You can play around with floating through that right finger. Woo! Remember, we learn when we fall. It's kind of a good metaphor for life. If there isn't falling, if there isn't failure, when we're babies, if we don't fall over, we don't really get to learn how to walk. We don't learn how to crawl. We don't learn how to run. Same with all of life. Big breath. Exhale, start to slowly bring it back into a forward fold. So beautiful. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. And then drop the hips. Bring it all the way to the floor. So beautiful, team. Taking a moment. Shifting those hips side to side. So good. Give yourself credit for showing up and trying something new, because there's nothing easy about that move. Big breath in. Exhale, bringing left foot either to right thigh or right shin, wherever you feel comfortable here. Flexing through our right foot. Inhale, lengthen through the torso. Option to take a little micro bend in that right leg as we exhale forward into this forward fold. If you opted for that bend, you can play around with lengthening, or you can keep that bend. For some of us, we get a much nicer stretch if we keep the bend. It allows us to have a little more access to that hamstring. So never any judgment. We want to work with our body. Allowing that breath to soften. Closing the eyes and going within. Flexing through the foot. One more nice deep inhale, and on our exhale, we start to walk it back up. Gently lifting your left leg, perhaps bringing the left foot into the crook of the right elbow, maybe knee into the left. If that's too much, you can just hold the foot and give yourself a little rock side to side, just allowing yourself to have a little opening through that hip. If this doesn't feel good, totally skip it. We're going to set that left foot on the outside of the right thigh. So whenever you're ready, setting that left foot down. This is a wonderful place to stay for our twist. If you'd like to go for half Lord of the Fishes, you can kick your right heel back towards your left bum. But remember, with all of our twists, we want to make sure we're rooted. So if having your foot back doesn't allow you to keep your left sits bone rooted, just keep that leg out straight. Big breath in, our stretch. Exhale, taking right elbow outside of that left thigh, left hand outside of left hip, finding breath. If this doesn't feel comfortable, you can always hug your leg as well. Again, the goal here is to stay rooted through both hips. And the goal of our practice, you guessed it, removing meaning. One more nice deep breath in. Exhale, slowly return through center, little counter twist. And then finding cow face pose, we're just going to gently bring our left thigh over on top of our right till our sits bones are between our feet. For some of us, this might not feel good. You can keep more space between the legs. You can walk the feet further apart, whatever you need to do until both sits bones are down. Big sweep of the arms. Right arm is going to reach for our back. Our left arm is going to sweep up and under. The palm is going to face outward, and we're going to reach for the fingertips. This is pretty crazy. So if you're like, absolutely not, you can bring the hands behind heart in prayer, or you can even bring the hands behind your back in a bound, just sort of holding your arms position. All three are lovely. And if none of those work, skip it all together. If you have a strap, you can also hold on to that. Opening the chest. Exhale, lean forward. Option to release the bind if that feels better. We'll be going there anyway. And slowly unravel, coming all the way forward into your cow face pose. Option to pop that pillow on top of the thigh, letting that left hip really draw into the floor. Taking a moment just again to observe where your thoughts have run to. Instead, can we maybe direct them towards the sensation in the hip? The cool or heat of the air on our skin? Maybe the moisture if we've started to sweat a bit. Finding those tactile things to come back to rather than emotional. One more nice deep inhale here, and on the exhale, start to slowly roll up, sending the legs out to that wide-legged position we started with. Little rinse of the hips here. Oh yeah. And then finding staff pose once again. Feet going front. This time bringing our right leg into either our left thigh or left shin. Little bend in our left leg, toes towards the ceiling. Inhale, stretch. Exhale, nice long spine as we come forward, either keeping that bend or allowing for that length. Again, we want an optimal stretch in the back of the leg. So if optimal for you means maintaining that bend, please listen to what your body needs. Finding a position we can hold that doesn't force us to hold our breath, where we're not deeply uncomfortable. Reminder that when we do static stretching like this posture, we really want to make sure we can breathe easy. So we're going for about a 5 out of 10 intensity, not a 10 out of 10. Nice deep inhale, and on the exhale, we start to roll back up, grabbing the foot with our left hand, maybe outside of the thigh with our right hand. Maybe we take it to the crook of the elbows. Whatever feels good, as long as we can sit up nice and tall and just work out into that hip. Again, whatever range of motion feels good, you can also skip it all together. We'll set that right foot down outside of our left. Always that beautiful option to keep your left leg extended, or if you'd like half Lord of the Fishes, kick that left hip in or heel towards your right glute, grounding down through both sits bones. Inhale. Exhale, right hand outside right glute, left elbow outside right thigh. You can always hug the arm as well. Noticing perhaps the side might feel different. Most likely it does. That's a-okay. Another great opportunity just to notice without giving meaning or a story. Feeling the breath enter the body. Exhale, finding depth in the stretch that works for your body today. And we're nice deep inhale, and on our exhale as we unwind, we allow that right leg to continue across into cow face pose. Again, setting this up in whatever shape feels good. So maybe your legs are further apart. Maybe it's more of a crisscross applesauce. Maybe your feet are further away from your glutes. This time we take the left arm up and over, palm faces our back. Right arm underneath, fingertips reaching up. My hands don't touch on this, so I could grab for the back of my sports bra. I could grab a strap. We could go for the backwards prayer, the holding of the elbows, or just skipping it all together. Opening through the sternum, inhale. Grounding through both sits bones, we exhale forward. Again, the bind is completely optional. We're losing it soon anyway. If you have the bind, gently unwind and find yourself in that forward fold, sits bones both anchored. Pretty big, intense stretch on the outside of that right hip. Again, allowing softness. We live in this day and age where more always means more work, more stretch, more pain. If we're not feeling something in a negative way, are we even doing it right? And stretching and yoga are both really good indications, exercise in general, that if we're feeling in pain or we finish something feeling exhausted or sore, we've gone way too hard. The goal of these is to nourish our body so that we can live better. If we're in a stretch that hurts, chances are we're actually damaging our tissues further, causing either tighter abrasions or inflammation around the joint. So that's another way we can practice peace in our life, is allowing us to not have to hit that max, when really our body does happily and better in that mid zone, that peace, that in between. Coming back up, beautiful, unwinding. Let's rinse the legs here. Coming into that staff pose once more, feet pointing towards the sky, sits bones on either side, reaching for the toes, and slowly C curve, lay down one vertebra at a time. Coming down to your back, bringing the knees into the chest, give yourself a little rock, rinse the spine, split the hips, whatever feels good. When you're ready, exploring happy baby, hands can reach for the thighs or the foot, pressing foot or thighs in the hand, hands down into foot or thighs, bringing the knees towards the armpit, rolling the low back down, keeping upper body soft. Maybe playing around with extending one leg and then the other, or feet together, but again, all exploration. And slowly release, knees into chest, give yourself a big hug, and then slowly allow your legs to drop to the left. Anchoring our right shoulder, eyes to the right. Starting to slow. Starting to come back into that truly introspective space now that we don't have to focus on balancing or twisting, unrinsing. And we can come back to where we started our practice together. Focusing on that breath. One more nice deep inhale here. Exhale, bringing the knees up gently through and over to the right. Anchoring through the left shoulder. Eyes to the left. Noticing the inhale filling our lungs. Noticing how our muscles in this gentle stretch respond to inhales and exhales. The muscles in our ribs, those intercostals, literally help with our breathing. They relax as we inhale, allowing our lungs to fill, and as we exhale, one of the things that help with that exhale are the muscles of our rib cage actively constricting to help press the lungs. Slowly coming back to center, finding yourself in the tiniest little ball you can, giving yourself a hug, tensing everything, the toes, the fingers, the face. Big inhale, and then exhale, release. Taking time to find any sort of wiggle, letting it get out of the body, shoulders down the back. And arriving in Savasana. Final resting place of any practice. I'm going to go silent for just a while so you can reconnect with the breath, becoming that quiet observer. However, thoughts change since the beginning. Are we maybe starting to already go off of our mat mentally and clock what we have to do in our day? And can we just guide ourselves back, just here, just now, just for right now? All of that will be there when we're done. For the next 60 to 90 seconds, as I go quiet again, practice that peace. Remember, it is a practice. The retraining of our nervous system to just be okay with this stillness. Without any activation, good or bad, just allowing serenity. As always, Raiders, you're welcome to stay here for as long as you want. If you're ready to continue on with this day, gently bring awareness back with the fingers, the toes, the wrists, and the ankles, shifting of the hips. Inhaling, keeping eyes closed, but extending arms and legs in opposite directions, and then exhaling into a fetal position on either side. Finding this fetal pose, allowing your bicep to be a pillow for one more round of breath. Eyes remain closed as we press up to an easy seat. Taking a moment to bring the sits bones out evenly. Inhale, eyes closed, stretching up and overhead, bringing the hands to the heart. Inhale, fill the belly with air. Exhale, bringing the thumbs to that third eye center, that seat of intuition, of that connectedness to self that so often gets clouded. And only in our quietest moments can we really, truly know what our intuition is, to honoring our intuition. Bringing our thumbs to our lips, the vessel through which we communicate to the world. Words matter. What we say to ourselves, what we say to those around us, they carry energy. Energy can be peace when we choose the words thoughtfully, with intention. Bringing the heart and thumbs to connect. The seat of our energy and our power, that space that we have to create that beautiful thing we share with the world, that unconditional love for self and those around us, which in my eyes truly is the root of peace, allowing the world to be exactly as it is, loving others for exactly who they are. We waste so much energy wishing people were different, wishing circumstances were different. Life becomes so much easier when we allow that heart space to just free up and love unconditionally. Doesn't mean we have to like everyone. We get to choose who we surround ourselves with. but the energy we send out into the world can be that unconditional love and compassion. One more nice deep inhale all the way to full with the lungs, and then exhale, bowing forward. The light in the teacher in me honors, loves, and respects the light in the teacher in you. Shanti, shanti, shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Until next time, Raiders. Namaste.